Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. I'm Jennifer, and I'm here with my amazing co-host, Elizabeth. How are you doing today, Elizabeth?
Hi, Jennifer. I'm doing really well, thanks. I'm super excited about today's topic because it's something that can really help our viewers sound more natural and fluent in English. Phrasal verbs.
Yes, phrasal verbs are such an important part of everyday English, but they can also be tricky because their meanings aren't always obvious from the individual words. That's why today, we're going to break down some of the most common phrasal verbs and show you how to use them in your conversations.
Before we jump in, I just want to remind everyone to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. We're here to help you improve your English one step at a time.
And if you've been enjoying our content, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Your support really helps us keep creating these videos for you.
So, Jennifer, let's kick things off with a really common phrasal verb, get up. This simply means to rise from bed or from a sitting or lying position. For example, I usually get up at 7 a.m. or she got up from the chair to greet us.
Yes, get up is one of those phrasal verbs you'll hear all the time, especially when talking about daily routines. It's straightforward, but it's essential to know. Another one that's really common is wake up, which means to stop sleeping. For example, I wake up at 6 a.m., but I don't get up until 6:30.
That's a good point. The difference between wake up and get up is subtle but important. You wake up when you stop sleeping, but you get up when you actually get out of bed. And speaking of getting up, another related phrasal verb is get out, which can mean to leave a place. For example, I need to get out of the house more often.
Yes, get out is a versatile phrasal verb. It can also be used more figuratively, like when someone says, get out of here, to express disbelief or surprise. It's amazing how flexible phrasal verbs can be.
Absolutely. And since we're talking about get, let's look at another common phrasal verb, get along. This means to have a good relationship with someone. For example, I really get along with my coworkers, or do you and your sister get along?
That's a really useful one, especially in social situations. It's a nice way to talk about relationships and how well people interact with each other. And speaking of relationships, another great phrasal verb is break up. This means to end a romantic relationship. For example, they decided to break up after 5 years together.
Yes, break up is one of those phrasal verbs that can be a bit emotional, but it's very common in everyday conversations. It's important to know how to use it correctly. And while we're on the topic of break, another useful phrasal verb is break down, which can mean either a mechanical failure like my car broke down, or an emotional collapse like she broke down in tears.
Break down is a great example of a phrasal verb that has multiple meanings depending on the context. It's a reminder that phrasal verbs can be a bit tricky, but once you get the hang of them, they're incredibly useful.
Exactly. And to help with that, we're actually going to take a call from one of our viewers who has a question about using phrasal verbs in real-life situations. Let's take the call.
Hi there, you're on the air with Jennifer and Elizabeth. What's your name, and where are you calling from?
Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Elizabeth. My name is Tom, and I'm calling from London, UK. I've been following your channel for a while, and I really appreciate all the tips you share. I've been struggling a bit with using phrasal verbs naturally in conversation. I was wondering if you have any advice on how to get more comfortable with them?
Hi, Tom. It's great to hear from you, and thanks for your question. You're definitely not alone. Phrasal verbs can be tricky to master. One tip I have is to start by focusing on just a few phrasal verbs at a time. Try to use them in sentences every day, even if it's just in your thoughts or when you're talking to yourself. The more you practice, the more natural they'll feel.
That's a great tip, Elizabeth. Another suggestion is to pay attention to phrasal verbs when you're watching movies or TV shows in English. Notice how native speakers use them in different contexts. You can also try writing down any new phrasal verbs you hear and then practice using them in your own sentences.
That's really helpful. Thank you. I'll definitely try focusing on a few at a time and practicing them regularly. And I'll keep an ear out for them in movies and shows, too.
Great to hear, Tom. Remember, the key is consistency. The more you use them, the more they'll become a natural part of your vocabulary.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for calling in, Tom. We're so glad to hear you're enjoying the channel and making progress with your English.
Thanks so much, Jennifer and Elizabeth. I really appreciate your advice. Have a great day.
You too, Tom. Take care.
Bye, Tom. That was a great question from Tom. It's always inspiring to hear from our viewers and know that they're working hard to improve their English.
Yes, and Tom's question is a great reminder that learning phrasal verbs takes time and practice, but it's definitely worth the effort. Once you get comfortable with them, they can really enhance your communication.
Absolutely. So, let's move on to some more phrasal verbs. Another really common one is give up. This means to stop trying or to quit something. For example, I won't give up on my dreams, or she gave up smoking last year.
Yes, give up is a very common phrasal verb, and it's often used in motivational contexts to encourage someone not to quit. It's important to know how to use it both positively and negatively.
Definitely. And another related phrasal verb is give in, which means to surrender or to yield to someone else's wishes. For example, after hours of arguing, he finally gave in and agreed to go to the party.
That's a great one, especially when talking about situations where there's some kind of conflict or negotiation. It's the opposite of standing your ground. It means you've decided to agree or compromise.
Exactly. And speaking of conflict, another useful phrasal verb is work out. This can mean to solve a problem, like we need to work out a solution, or to exercise, like I work out at the gym every morning.
Workout is a really versatile phrasal verb. It's one of those phrases that's used so frequently that you almost don't realize how many different contexts it can apply to. Whether you're talking about solving a problem or staying fit, it's a must-know phrase.
Definitely. And another phrasal verb that's similar in its versatility is pick up. This can mean to learn something new, like I picked up some Spanish while traveling, or to physically lift something, like can you pick up that book for me?
Yes, pick up is used in so many different ways. It can also mean to collect someone, as in, I'll pick you up from the airport. It's another great example of how phrasal verbs can have multiple meanings.
Absolutely. And here's another phrasal verb that's really useful, run out. This means to exhaust the supply of something. For example, we've run out of milk, or I'm running out of time.
Yes, run out is a really common phrase, especially in daily life. It's often used when talking about supplies or resources, but it can also be used more figuratively, like when you're running out of patience.
Exactly. And another phrasal verb that's really important to know is turn down. This means to refuse or reject something. For example, she turned down the job offer, or he turned down the invitation.
That's a really useful one, especially when you need to politely refuse something. It's a phrase that comes up often in professional and social settings.
Definitely. And another related phrasal verb is turn up, which can mean to increase the volume or intensity, like can you turn up the music, or to appear or arrive unexpectedly, like she turned up at the party out of the blue.
Turn up is another versatile phrasal verb that's used in many different contexts. It's great for talking about adjusting things or for describing someone's arrival.
Absolutely. And here's another phrasal verb that's really handy, look forward to. This means to be excited about something that's going to happen. For example, I'm really looking forward to the weekend, or she's looking forward to starting her new job.
Yes, look forward to is a very positive phrase. It's all about anticipation and excitement for something in the future. It's a great way to express enthusiasm.
Definitely. And while we're talking about look, another important phrasal verb is look after, which means to take care of someone or something. For example, can you look after my dog while I'm away? or she's looking after her younger brother.
Look after is such a caring phrase. It's all about responsibility and taking care of someone or something that's important to you.
Absolutely. And another phrasal verb related to look is look up to, which means to admire or respect someone. For example, I've always looked up to my older sister, or he looks up to his teacher.
Yes, look up to is all about admiration and respect. It's a great way to talk about role models or people you admire.
Definitely. And here's another phrasal verb that's really useful, put off. This means to delay or postpone something. For example, we had to put off the meeting until next week, or don't put off your homework until the last minute.
Yes, put off is very common when talking about procrastination or delays. It's a phrase that's often used when something needs to be rescheduled or postponed.
Exactly. And another related phrasal verb is put up with, which means to tolerate something unpleasant. For example, I don't know how she puts up with the noise from the construction, or he's had to put up with a lot of stress lately.
Put up with is a really important phrase to know because it's often used in situations where you're dealing with something difficult or annoying. It's a way to talk about enduring something without complaining too much.
Definitely. And before we wrap up, let's talk about one more phrasal verb, bring up. This can mean to mention or introduce a topic, like she brought up an interesting point in the meeting, or to raise a child, like they brought up their children in the countryside.
Bring up is another versatile phrasal verb that's used in many different contexts. It's great for both discussions and family situations.
Absolutely. And for our viewers, if you're enjoying this conversation and finding these phrasal verbs helpful, make sure to like the video and share it with others. Your support really helps us continue to create content that helps you improve your English.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We've got plenty more videos coming your way, covering everything from essential phrasal verbs to advanced conversation skills.
So, before we wrap up, let's do a quick recap of today's phrasal verbs. We talked about get up, wake up, get along, break up, work out, pick up, run out, turn down, look forward to, and many more.
We also covered give up, give in, turn up, look after, put off, put up with, and bring up. These are all essential phrasal verbs that can help you sound more natural and fluent in English.
And most importantly, remember to practice these phrasal verbs in your daily conversations. The more you use them, the more natural they'll feel. Don't be afraid to incorporate them into your speech and see how they can enhance your communication.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Keep practicing, keep learning, and have fun with these phrasal verbs. You'll be mastering them in no time.
We'll see you in the next video. Take care and happy learning.
Bye for now.